Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee with Craner. This is episode 142 and I have Lorraine Goddard, the CEO of United Way, Windsor-Essex. Today we're going to be talking about all of the work she's done with this nonprofit, her work in previous roles, and much more. So I think you'll enjoy this segment, and it's local. It's great things happening in here for youth and a number of different programs that United Way has going on. So Lorraine, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity.
So every show I have to ask a question about coffee. You might know what's coming, but
Yes.
Where would you say, because we're right in like the core of Windsor, downtown Windsor, basically.
We're right downtown Windsor. However, I live in Kingsville.
Okay.
I'm a county girl. And so one of my favorite places is Joe's at the Grove.
Yep.
And they have like a lovely coffee shop there, and they have a little, make nice little sandwiches and pastries and that. So it's really a lovely spot to go have coffee.
It is. And they just opened up a new location, I believe, at in Colchester.
Yep.
Yes, it's a top spot for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us about United Way. How did you enter this role? How did this all happen?
Well, I actually started as an employee of United Way in 2009, but I have really a 25-year history with United Way. Back in 1995, I started a nonprofit organization out in Kingsville, and in '96 we became funded by United Way, and so from '96 to 2009. I, had a relationship with United Way at the time, and through those years, I became a volunteer, I became a leadership trainer, and really believed in the mission and vision of United Way in our community. I was recruited in 2009 as the director overseeing all of the dollars that we invest in the community and programs and services. And then in 2014, I was appointed the CEO and have been in this role now 10 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Was this something that you always set out to do? Is it in the back of your mind?
No, not really, to be honest with you. I kind of happened to kind of fall into the not-for-profit world. Prior to that, I worked in the criminal justice system and worked with criminal lawyers and some of them who defended young offenders.
Mm-hmm.
And as I worked in that role and really got to talk to young people who were, facing charges, I really started to realize that a lot of these young people really were falling through the cracks, and that if there had been an intervention prior to this charge, we probably wouldn't see them in our office, and
Mm-hmm.
that you could clearly see that the criminal justice system was actually dealing with issues that it wasn't meant to deal with. And that really motivated me and inspired me, that I felt like maybe I could make a difference in young people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that really charted my kind of course
Your
correction
focus,
of
yeah.
my career.
And can you tell us about some of the work United Way is doing for youth, but also there's a number of programs and services you offer?
Yeah, well, United Way's been in the community for 77 years.
Wow.
It was actually started back in 1947, right after World War II. And if you think about what was happening in 1947, we didn't have a national health care. You didn't have a social safety net back then. And soldiers were coming home from the war, facing high unemployment. We call it PTSD now,
Mm-hmm.
but mental health challenges, conflicts in the home. And it was the Chamber of Commerce, the Windsor Chamber of Commerce, that said, hey, as business people, we need to do something to help our soldiers. And at the time, there were what's called community chests that were being established in communities across Canada and the U.S. And that's one of the earliest iteration of United Way. And they said, hey, why don't we start that in our community? So that's United Way's roots. So it really initially was always about helping the most vulnerable people in our community, right? And leveraging the resources that a community have, whether it's dollars or talent, the people power to be able to support people who really need it the most. And then throughout the years, we were responsible for really starting up a lot of organizations that are kind of the mainstays in our community. Then through time, as the world evolves and technology comes in and starts to disrupt society,
Yes.
We also, the charitable sector has had to, re-examine its own business model, its value proposition. And really, we as a United Way started to examine how can we be an impact organization, not just an organization that takes in dollars and puts it back out in the community, but really tackles a wicked problem that we can actually move the needle on and create measurable, lasting change. And back in 2015, we put out a report called the Cost of Poverty Report.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, we became acutely aware that although we could say with 100% certainty, we've helped a lot of people in this community, we recognized that we were leaving a lot of kids and families behind, and that in some neighborhoods we were seeing poverty rates of more than 50% of kids growing up in low income.
Mm-hmm.
And when you experience deep poverty, you face a lot of barriers that affect your ability to thrive and succeed. And so that's when United Way said, we really need to transform in order to really be that organization that puts a stake in the ground and says we can make a difference here, and we can leverage the power of our community to be able to tackle this problem. And so we were we ventured on that path back in 2019. Of course, we all were affected by the global pandemic, but our focus has been on a cradle to career strategy that supports children and their family from the time they're born till they start a career in neighborhoods where the need is the greatest.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is definitely needed, and the pandemic only, I guess, increased the amount of need that the community has. Now, you said you're with in this role 10 years now.
Yes.
What are you most proud of so far as CEO with the organization, would you say?
I'm really, I guess what I'm most proud of is being able to move our organization, because when you've been around, like at the time when the board of directors decided to take this and drive that stake in the ground and say we're going to be this
Mm-hmm.
organization, it's a really big challenge for organizations who've been around. At that time we were around for almost 75 years to say we are going to make this huge change. And so I'm most proud that our organization, that I've had a small part to play in helping to create this vision and to be able to help to bring the community together through Prosper Us,
Mm-hmm.
which is the collective.
Yep.
And to, we're still in a transformative stage, but transforming our United Way to become, increase our value proposition and become that organization that is really making lasting change in the community.
So for other nonprofits that you mentioned, 77 years United Way has been here,
Mm-hmm.
It can be very easy for those nonprofits to become stagnant and lose focus or lose energy, and eventually just kind of fall off.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to other nonprofit leaders? How do they continue to drive that mission forward?
Well, you have to be bold.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take calculated risks, and charities are just risk averse by nature, right? You have to have a vision, and you have to have a roadmap to get there. Change is inevitable, and we can either create the change that we want it to be, or we can be molded by the change around us. And sometimes that change means that you're no longer here or you're no longer relevant. And we just have too many challenges in our community. We have too many gaps in our community. The need has increased. Like, we need more than ever the supports of the charitable sector, because we have seen government pulling dollars back and relying on the sector to fill the holes. Yet we also see trend lines going down around volunteerism and donations. So we are really in a time of real disruption that is, being affected by societal issues, that the charitable sector needs to come together and work differently, that we have to get out of our silos. We have to look at how do we leverage each other's strengths in order to really support the community in a way that really helps people, right? Our system is quite fragmented, and it's very difficult to navigate. Unless you need a service, most people don't know anything about any of the social services. And then when you need it, it's so complex and so difficult to navigate and so difficult to access that it's sometimes not helpful for people at all.
And how did we fix that?
Well, it's about systems change. It's about really taking the system and making a commitment to work differently. We talk about collaboration, but it's even moving beyond collaboration. It's really moving more towards a collective model where we reduce competition between organizations. We have a shared success model where we put dollars into a pool and we support the things that are really critical for the community. We share information, we share data, we measure our impact, and we course correct. So it's really taking it to the next level in terms of our business model and how we work differently with each other.
Make a good point. I mean, there are a ton of charities out there, and for the average resident, it's trying to navigate, okay, which do you support? So we all don't have unlimited funds. Well, some do, but for those where the money tree is not continuing to flow, how do they know which organizations to choose, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you see most nonprofits, maybe in this sector, go wrong? That perhaps leads to the downfall of the organization, because it's limited budgets. You're relying a lot on provincial, federal, and community funding. How do they, I guess, ensure you're staying afloat, but also not plummeting?
Yeah, it's really, I think charities have an extra layer of challenge, because there is still this belief that if you work for a charity, you should probably work for almost no money, or you should work for very low wages. And when you have a world that is becoming more complex, problems are more persistent, and the solutions require talent, knowledge, skills to solve them, you have to run your charity like a business. You need the talent, you need the planning, you need the evaluation, you need the data, the research, all of those things. And oftentimes charities don't have the capacity. It's not necessarily where they go wrong, it's a problem of the system that, sometimes one of the first things I'll hear from a prospective donor is, what's your administrative costs? How much money is going to the community? And I have no problem sharing that, but I also like to inform the donor to say, you could give your money to me and I could give like 100% and put it over there, but it may not make the impact you want. You could be wasting all of your money by not giving it to a charity that actually has the talent, the capacity, the plan, the evaluation skills, the data, the research, all of that, where your dollars are used most effectively and you can go further and deeper with your dollars, right? And so it's really we really need to shift the paradigm around a charity as a business. And would you take your money and invest it in a business that wasn't doing those things? No, you probably wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
So as a donor, would you not want to invest your dollars in a charity that is a business that has all those things that you have more confidence they're actually going to do what they say they're going to do and have impact to prove it?
Yes, yes, very, very well said. Mic drop. Now, tell us, what's some exciting things you have planned at United Way?
Well, as usual, we are continuing to work with our Prosper Us collective partners, and we are shifting to the new phase of our work, which, we were in the design of the Cradle to Career strategy, the development of it. Now we're moving into investment, implementation, evaluation, and part of that is a commitment to continuous improvement. And so we have one of our programs is called Ignite Academy, which we're still in the kind of prototype testing stage of it. And it is an after-school program that is heavily focused on improving grade 3 literacy and grade 6 math for students, because the research tells us that if you're not meeting provincial standards in literacy in grade 3, you're 4 times more likely not to graduate high school.
Wow.
And if you're not meeting math standards in grade 6, you're less likely to attend post-secondary education, whether that's the trades, college, or university. And I think we can agree in a world, 21st century economy, you need some kind of post-secondary, right? A high school diploma is just not going to cut it. And so one of our big challenges is, and we know that this has a lot to do with the impacts of the pandemic. Young people's math skills in particular, the literacy skills are behind, but the math skills are extremely behind. And we're recognizing that the way our model of Ignite Academy is designed, we're not able to get through a lot of the math and upskill the students in the time that we have. So part of our continuous improvement process is we bring experts, we bring donors together, we bring parents and young people who are using the program and using human-centered design. We are looking at how do we do better in math. So we're testing out this model next week, so we're really excited about that.
Exciting.
Again, it's our commitment to using dollars in the best way, evaluating and recognizing that failure is going to happen, but we will fail forward and we will fail fast.
Yes, great saying. I often think about that in everything I do in life.
Yeah.
Now, final question for you. What would be some advice for somebody that's looking to be in your role one day?
You really need to build relationships. None of us can do anything on our own, really, and do it well and be effective. And to be the CEO of a charitable organization that relies on the generosity and goodwill of the community, it's absolutely imperative that you can build relationships. You can articulate, you can be a visionary, you can articulate a vision that the community can stand behind you and support it, and that you're open to ideas and input and feedback, because again, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go further, go together. And when you're trying to tackle an issue around poverty, you got to do it together.
Yes. You need a support system around you, no doubt, right?
And you need the knowledge, you need the resources, you need the people power, you need all of that in order to tackle a wicked, persistent problem like that.
You can't enter an organization and think you can you could run the show right off the bat, and you know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, you really need to have I really, my leadership style is quite collaborative. I believe that,
Yeah.
my team is, like, go ahead, challenge these ideas and concepts that I have, because pressure test it. Make sure that, poke holes in it. Because again, by doing that, it expands my thinking, and we end up with a better result at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Well, this was a great interview. I really enjoyed speaking with you about your role, your vision for the organization, the you said Ignite Academy that's taking place, and the math programs that are launching next week.
Yeah, our continuous improvement is launching
next week.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good things happening here. Services throughout Windsor and Essex County. Definitely recommend reaching out to United Way for more information, or contacting the Reigns team. Fabulous organization here that really puts their heart and soul into the community and the work you're doing to tackle poverty and education issues and so much more. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. If you're wanting to watch the whole episode again, visit coffeewithcrainer.com. This is episode